Every night before we went out on stage on the King tour, Bernie used to pat us all. Bernie was an athletic dude, so he used to pat us on the rear end like basketball players.
So what did you think? What was your ultimate goal? What did you want to do?
To be the best.
We always believed Hollywood's elite were tight-knit, especially when they share such grand successes. But a rift seems to be tearing through the glitz and glamour. And it's thicker than any screenplay. Samuel L. Jackson's recent remarks about Steve Harvey have ignited the gossip mills. And it all circles back to Bernie Mac. It's a story most didn't see coming. Samuel L. Jackson, always known for his wit and humor, made a surprising comment about Steve Harvey that caught everyone off guard. Better, I think, if you focus on being the best within yourself, all that stuff will come. I hear people say, get your money on, get your money on. I hate that. I hate you. I mean, that's your motivation, he mentioned. Steve Harvey, on the other hand, seems to have a different perspective, stating, listen to me, rich people think differently. The only difference between successful people and not is just how they think. These heavyweights of the entertainment industry are no strangers to success. But there seems to be a divide. And it's not about Steve's iconic mustache or their immense wealth. The root of this growing animosity between them is deeply connected to Bernie Mac, a renowned comedian and close associate of both. To many, it seemed Harvey and Mac were two peas in a pod. But there's a hidden history here. Before Harvey came into the limelight with Mac, the comedian and Jackson shared a deep bond. Bernie's house was a haven for Jackson during their early days in the industry.
I met Bernie years and years ago when I used to have a golf tournament down in Bermuda. And Bernie was the highlight of my comedy night.
So what triggered this fissure? Whispers in the corridors of Hollywood claim that Steve Harvey once tried to elbow Bernie out of the blockbuster Ocean's 11. A GQ article spilled the beans, alleging that Harvey approached the producers, touting himself as a better fit for the role.
Bernie said in the GQ article that when he got Ocean's 11, Steve had reached out to the producers and said he thought he would be a better fit and tried to get the part and blah, blah, blah. And that was some shit that, you just don't.
This maneuver was seen as an ultimate betrayal. While Steve Harvey's fame soared, it seemed Bernie Mac was somewhat left in the shadows. But the tide shifted as Bernie began to garner more attention. And as these dynamics shifted, so did the relationships. There's no doubt about Steve Harvey's influence. He's a titan of the industry, with a track record spanning 3 decades. The world knows him as a top comedian, TV personality, author, and more. Yet, Jackson's stance is clear. He doesn't seem to hold Harvey in the same regard. And in a world where bonds seem inevitable among black celebrities, like the camaraderie between Samuel L. Jackson and Bernie Mac or Steve Harvey and Martin Lawrence, the chasm between Jackson and Harvey stands out.
I have friends that I look up one day and I realize we've achieved something that we talked about.
Rumors claim Jackson's skepticism about Harvey isn't just professional, it's personal. As we delve into this intricate web of fame, egos, and past affiliations, one thing is clear. In Hollywood, not everything is as it seems on the silver screen. Stay with us as we uncover the true story behind these industry titans and their unexpected feud. We're used to seeing images of our favorite celebrities lounging together on vacations, creating the illusion of friendships. Just a few years back, pictures of Samuel L. Jackson and his wife, alongside Steve Harvey and his spouse, vacationing at a luxury spot, made rounds on the internet. The headlines were juicy. Life on the ocean. Rave pals Steve Harvey, Samuel L. Jackson, and Magic Johnson enjoy July 4th on luxury yacht with their wives. Everyone jumped to the easy conclusion. They're good friends. However, time reveals truths that glossy pictures don't. Jackson later cleared the air, sharing that their meeting was purely coincidental. While the world interpreted their vacation photo as a sign of camaraderie, Jackson's version made it crystal clear that bumping into Steve Harvey was purely accidental. But why does Jackson maintain this distance from Steve? Trace the origins, and we find Bernie Mac at the heart of it. Turns out Steve Harvey, always looking out for number one, reportedly tried to sideline Bernie.
Bernie, felt like he didn't want to do it anymore. He was on his own path, and Steve, so...
This, despite them being part of the same group, supposedly chasing the same dream. The narrative intensifies when you consider their roots in the early 2000s' comedy scene. Those who recall the early 2000s will immediately think of the original kings of comedy show, a band of comedians, Steve Harvey D., Bill, Hughley Cedric the Entertainer, and Bernie Mac, who rose to legendary status redefining comedy as they toured. Theirs wasn't just another comedy tour. It was a cultural phenomenon, a performance that was not only lucrative but also pivotal in modern comedy. Back then, it was the most successful comedy tour ever. Now, while each of these comedians had their unique styles that touched on various facets of African American life, dynamics between Bernie and Steve stood out. Steve, with his national TV show, was clearly in the limelight. His style was more direct, often picking on audience members for their appearance. Bernie, in contrast, had a more intense style, touching on deeper societal issues, intertwining comedy with poignant life narratives.
That Steve and Bernie butted heads?
Yeah. I mean, they were the kind of guys that they both alpha males.
While Steve's witty remarks and smooth performance kept him at the top, Bernie's genuine style garnered significant attention. The underlying tension between their distinct styles eventually snowballed into what many now see as envy on Steve's part. But what's even more important is the difference in the core values that these titans upheld. Steve Harvey's meteoric rise isn't just anchored on wit and charm. The man boasts a fan base that soars to 6 million on his radio show, a platform that President Obama reportedly tunes into. Then there's Harvey's prominent place in Family Feud and his stamp on the New York Times' bestseller list with Act Like a Lady. Think Like a Man. This particular achievement wasn't just ink on paper. It became a cinematic sensation. As if that isn't impressive enough, Harvey's been omnipresent on television, dispersing relationship gems on eminent shows like The Oprah Winfrey Show, Ellen, and Good Morning America. This is a testament, as Michael Harrison of Talkers magazine opined, to Harvey being a legitimate, genuine American media star. Over time, Harvey has showcased his adaptability, transforming from a stand-up comedian to the darling of sitcoms, the heart of variety shows, and now, an esteemed relationship guru.
So what I'm gonna put in your head today is rich people concept, so you can get to understand it. The only difference between successful people and not is just how they...
This money-centric, success-driven narrative of Harvey paints a vivid contrast to Bernie Mac's journey. Mac's entry into comedy was less about gold and glitz and more about resilience and passion.
Better, and I think if you focus on being the best within yourself, all that stuff will come.
With challenges thrown his way early in life, including the devastating loss of his mother, Mac discovered solace in humor. Instead of succumbing to life's hardships, he channeled his energies into stand-up comedy, driven by a pure desire to entertain. Echoing Mac's ethos, he once remarked,
I'm a comedian. I'm not a black comic. I didn't want a black show. I want a show. I make everybody laugh.
Mac's determination wasn't tethered to peer comparison. His North Star was individual excellence and self-authenticity. On being queried about his comedic vision, Mac responded, to be the best. He consistently conveyed disdain for the idea of money as the primary motivator. If you do well, the money will come, was Mac's simple philosophy, contrasting starkly with Harvey's more commercialized approach to success.
I hear people say, get your money on, get your money on. I hate that. And that's your motivation?
This juxtaposition of values was perhaps best summarized in a fan's interaction with Mac, where she shared her prophecy of his future stardom after watching his early performances. In Mac's mind, the zenith wasn't the dollar, but the evolution of his craft.
Television, I never watch what somebody else does. It does not matter. Bernie and Mac got to do a thing.
The undercurrents of their philosophies is possibly what Samuel L. Jackson has tuned into. While Bernie Mac reveled in the artistry of comedy, Steve Harvey's narrative often oscillates between his craft and the lucrative laurels it brings. And in this chasm lay the unease and unspoken differences. Yet Hollywood's story isn't just pinned by its stars. It's often dictated by its audience. After all, the collective voice of the fans fuels the industry. Stay with us as we delve deeper into this narrative, pulling back the curtain on the glitz and diving into the real stories that shape Tinseltown. While the internal dynamics of these giants remain under wraps, a vast legion of fans provides invaluable insights, painting a more holistic picture of the unfolding saga. One ardent Bernie Mac enthusiast encapsulates the sentiment beautifully, noting Bernie Mac was hilarious without effort. He was a natural. His TV show was family-oriented, and the show kept me engaged, further elucidating on the inherent magic of Bernie's style. They continue. His style as a comic had its own flavor. This isn't just nostalgia speaking. The tone underlining this comment hints at the irreplaceable charisma of Mac. Perhaps the biggest testament to Bernie's impact came in a poignant addendum. Steve needs to give Bernie his accolades. Bernie was much funnier to me. Not alone in this belief, another devotee weighed in with an unmistakably straightforward opinion. Steve Harvey cannot hold a match to Bernie. Such bold claims give credence to the perceived gulf between Harvey's commercial success and Mac's organic connection with audiences. A sentiment echoed yet again by another fan, who, while professing admiration for both Samuel L. Jackson and Mac, shared, "Mac Man will always be the greatest. It would have been great if Bernie was still here. And they had made us soul men too." In piecing together these candid testimonials, it becomes evident that the reverence for Bernie Mac is near universal, rooted not just in his comedic genius, but also in the essence of who he was. The underlying tension, the subtle jibes, the unspoken competitions, they're all framed against this backdrop of an audience's unwavering loyalty to Mesa's memory. As we navigate the twists and turns of Hollywood's glittering narratives and the legacy of Bernie Mac, we want to know, does success overshadow genuine artistry? And how vital is the artist's essence to their art? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Cheers.